We're already saying bye-bye to the month of August and already preparing our mind, welcoming you to the month of September. But this is going to be the last edition for the month of August. And I hope that you will join us together today again as we summer corruption out of our society. I remain your popular host for the program Make with Summer Corruption. And like you know, I'm not alone in the studio. Yes, I'm not running solo. I'm here with the beautiful one, the very pretty, lovely Zira. Good morning.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning. I'm just very happy to be here. All these compliments. I don't know, I'm just blushing now. I'm smiling anyhow. It's a good day.
You know, our people say when you see something good, it's always good you appreciate it. So that at least the person will know that, yes, God blessed him or her with something very unique and very different from others. Okay, listeners at home, we're welcome again to another beautiful edition of the program Make Way Summer Corruption. Like you know, we promised you last week that we are going to continue from our last discussion, which was actually looking into the employment scam. Man, no man. Money for employment. Yes, we have been touchlighting and trying to examine. Let me break it down in the local English. We've done the try to touchlight, look into some of the issues surrounding this problem where we call employment scam. Where we say people, they pay money, or they even demand, say, if you need job, or you bring money. You know, I don't know how come we reach this particular place where we dey. Where we say, person where they look for a job so that I go get money, you go tell and say make you pay money, and the money no be say na small money, because if na like something of 100 or 200 or 500 or even 1,000, but right now the thing now don't they jump to million. And we be say it depend on the hierarchy, depending on how the job take lucrative. That is how the billing take day. So now waiting will be done the examine, and the partner where they with me where done they give us all the ideas and all the forms where the thing they take, you know, show face for we country Nigeria and India on ground. So like this our beautiful sister Zira. So today we want also expatiate, make we also look at other places where all people know they too see too, or know they know, or where don't they exist, where people whenever they, you know, prominent, where people know to know. So we want to touchlight everything. Then at the end, we go summarize them, look into something we go fit help us, make we come up for this problem. Because if we allow this thing continue, my brother, my sister, I don't know whether our children in the future go fit see job do for this country. All right, Zira, you know, last week we actually looked into so many areas, you know, and so many forms that this kind of issues manifest. So we want to also go further, because this issue is not only, you know, on one-sided. We are, like last week, we look at the three individuals who are to blame. Is it the system, the giver, or the receiver? So we want to also look at other areas, how these things take shape and take form, so that Nigerians can be well informed.
So I think after our discussion, I just went ahead and did a little research because I was like, this thing actually disturbed me. And I was like, okay, so what can I also still see in the back end? What is still the problem? And I think as Nigerians, we should be very much interested in our country. I think growing up, there was a lot of, it's Nigeria, like it's happening and stuff like that. But then I realized that we need to know root causes of a lot of things, and we need to identify the triggers so that if we're trying to curb corruption overall, we know where it's coming from and we know where to stop it from. So when I look at corruption and I think of the fact that there's a culture of corruption where public and private sector individuals, they exploit their positions for personal gain. That's another angle. Because a lot of times we tend to think that, okay, so we're pointing accusing fingers at different places, and it's not just accusing fingers. It's because we're looking for a solution, and to look for a solution, we must find the problem, right? And now we're discovering that even in these private and public sectors, we have a lot of rotten eggs that are spoiling the entire omelette, spoiling the bread and egg that we're about to eat. So we have a lot of people exploiting the positions that they're already in. So you've gotten a job. You're in a level of like a place where you can give people employment. You're an employer of labor. And at the end of the day, you decide that you stand to gain more if when you are employing these people, you get financial gain. And the funny thing about that is that you will now end up employing people that can afford to pay for those jobs, but may not necessarily be able to do the job. So now that's another thing we have to note, that if you are a private sector or a public sector official or of any organization, any parastatal, wherever you're working, whichever position you've been given of authority, you need to know that you're accountable to Nigerians and you're accountable to your country. You're accountable to your God if you actually believe in a God and you serve a God. You're accountable to all of these factors. And for that reason, there should be a second thought before we start engaging in things like that. So that is a corruption culture that has been embedded in us over time, where you need to sort out somebody. And because maybe you've watched generations before you do it, you've become an employer of labor. This generation this young generation, the Gen Zs and everything, they talk, they speak. And I think a lot of reasons why we've identified some of these problems and we're able to even, regardless of whether they contribute to the problems, they speak. And speaking is already a priority for us in Nigeria. Talking about this culture, identifying that this is our culture. We're not bad people. We're not terrible people. But we've had a culture that has not been working for us. What do we do? Where do we go from there?
It's all right. I love that you actually highlighted this. You know, everybody, the English language says, nobody plans to fail, but we fail to plan.
Yes.
That is actually the problem. Now, if I am given a position, and I decide to sabotage that position by, deciding to take kickbacks and employ those that are not capable to do the job, and also do other stuff, things like that, that will sabotage my work function. And I'm having it at the back of my mind that, because I know every reasonable business-minded person who establishes a business does that for a particular reason, and that is to grow and to make gain. And if you decide to get in people that cannot do the job, automatically what you are doing is to ruin what
the business,
you have planned already to do, and also ruin your future. Now, we have people that are working under government institutions. Okay, you set up people, and definitely as the head, you always have a vision that you want to leave a mark at the end of your own tenure. So, what really goes in the mind of these people who perpetuate this, knowing fully well that whatever you are doing will always bring out a result that will taint your regime or whatever position you are handling at that moment?
So I will just answer sufficiently to say they just don't care. And why I'm saying they just don't care, it just seems like a very simple answer. But the truth is, like you said, you just explained it beautifully, that this situation in the long term is going to prove your incompetence.
Definitely.
But I've understood that public appearance means nothing to a lot of people. Like how you see me doesn't matter as long as I have something in my pocket. That is a culture we're trying to kill. That is where the corruption culture comes from. Corruption is such an element that blinds you. You don't have foresight of the future. You're only watching what you can get now. And because of that corruption culture, so it makes no sense. Like you said, it makes no sense that you hire somebody that is incompetent and you will get bribed to hire people that will not do the job. When in the long run, it's going to be said that in your regime or when you were the leader here, the work wasn't being done well. But so clearly, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with your thought process. And that is what we need to change. We need to have a set of Nigerians that once they assume a particular place, like you said, for every director or every executive director or a leader or a chairman, your idea is that when you get there, I want to leave a mark. That is you talking.
Yeah.
And this is because you're aware of the corruption culture and you're aware that I don't want to leave a mark that says I don't have integrity. I'm not a man that they can call again for another job. They can call again for another promotion. And because over time, people have seen that you will mess up as a leader and you will still be called again during another regime to come and do the same thing. And there has been a general promotion of corruption. It's like, during his time, if we sort him out, he used to allow people to come. He is friendly to people. That is all that matters. And now we need to ask Nigerians, what matters to you? Does it matter that when he was there, he brought all my brothers and all my sisters? You understand? So I will support him. Rather, you should be thinking, because of he brought my brothers and my sisters, work was not done. And at the end of the day, the efforts were useless. So now, we as Nigerians, we're also following up to do, if it favors me, it no concern me. The same way those leaders will still keep being re-elected, re-put into the same position, because it's like, when he was there, he was doing well. Doing well in Nigeria can mean, he was sorting out people, he was helping people, he was giving them money, he was bribing people. Why do we believe that is when somebody is doing well? Why don't we look at the change? Why don't we look at because we are so concerned. A lot of people, let's assume now, money has been given for a road to be done. And from bureaucracy, here, there, little money exchange hands. And at the end of the day, that road was not done. Now, people that benefited from the money feel like they've achieved. Now, a child of somebody that benefited from that money has an accident on that road and dies. What happened? You killed your child, actually.
Definitely.
Directly or indirectly. You can argue it anywhere, but you played a part. The child's blood is on your hands. So people don't really know that it circles back. You're living in this world where you think you're in a bubble, where corruption cannot penetrate into where you are, or the evidence or the dividends of corruption will always find you. Because one way or the other, except you are leaving, and even if you leave Nigeria, you'll be out of the country and you'll be hearing people disregard Nigerians and speak of Nigerians as these set of people. And you're playing a part in that. So like you said, it only takes a reasonable person who has actually sat down and thought that I want to better my country. I want to better individuals. I will do you no good by accepting your money and putting you in a position where you will go and fail. Now, people who are reasonable would think that if I employ you and you go to fail, it will drag my name, my integrity to the mud. So if I'm employing you, it has to be that you can do the job. I wouldn't be here speaking. You wouldn't be here speaking if you can't do this job. you know that it wouldn't take long. I will come and say something very dumb, and I will be removed from this position.
Definitely.
The same way you've been doing this for years, and you've been doing it for years. And if you're not doing it beautifully, if they replace you with somebody else that is not qualified, that is incompetent, it will show. Nigerians will be hearing this radio program and be like, what's going on?
This is not how it used to be.
Do you get? So until we start complaining about things, even when they don't affect us, that is when the change will truly come. Until we start pointing fingers and knowing that there are some fingers still pointing back at us, knowing that we still have a plan. If I say you are the problem, then the fingers that are pointing back at me should define where can I get this, like how can I be part of the solution? That is what we should be thinking as Nigerians, and even as Nigerians and generally even from the government level, from the higher level.
I think this one sticks so deep that everyone who is actually conscious or who has his or her country at heart should be able to put him or herself in this spot and say, what is happening? Am I a contributor or am I promoting for a better country? We all point accusing fingers at each other. Even the government is pointing accusing finger to another. You understand? So nobody is taking responsibility
at all.
Now, let's bring in all these norms of will I call it ethnicity and religiosity in quote, because I know for every person who is being put in a certain position to handle, you will see his kinsmen, his religious, will I say, brothers and sisters, try to feel that, yes, it is now our turn. And they try to circle the person and ensure they push their agenda, irrespective of whatever any other person feel. And they promote this agenda, wait for your time. Now, I want you to talk to Nigerians. In the best, because you have given them one real hit stone that everybody should go home and ponder about. How deep is this thing ruining our system?
So this one touched me. This one touches me deeply because I just sit down and I think, even as an adult here, I'm just like, will there ever really be a time where Nigerians will stop seeing each other as Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, this, that, and see each other as Nigerians and see each other as human beings first? Before I look at you, I don't know where you're from. I honestly, right now, I don't know where you're from. So, and it's not disrespectfully. It's just because...
Even me, I don't know.
It's just because...
I just know that you are Zira, you are a Nigerian, you're my sister.
Exactly.
And we can actually bond.
Exactly. It's beautiful that we have diversity.
Yeah.
But let our diversity not be the breeding factor for corruption. Now, that is what people don't understand. Is that inside that diversity, I know of brothers and stick closer than any of my family members. I know people that are from the other side of the country and people that are from a different religion that I have grown up with and I have learned to trust and carried as my own. So I'm realizing that until we look at each other and see beyond the ethnicity, see beyond the gender bias, see beyond other biases, and see each other as Nigerians, we will not be able to tackle corruption at all. Because we are tackling corruption. You see, I saw on Instagram, if you go to the walls of Instagram and the social media and Twitter, that's X, you see a lot of things like when they capture Nigerians out of the country and maybe they say, for Nigerians, this. You hear people in the comment section, hey, Yoruba people, yes, Igbo, it's Igbo. Like, they are so concerned about the culture, about the
where
tribe.
they are coming, the roots where they are coming from.
As if to say that corruption in the East is more than corruption in the West, or corruption in the West is more than corruption in the North. And that is us literally running after each other in the dark, shooting ourselves. Just picture this in a dark room where like the light goes off, power goes off, and we are all in this room. Let's say different tribes, different cultures. If they all give us maybe sticks to hit ourselves, will you be able to know where your Igbo brother or your Yoruba brother is? And they say just be hitting people. That's what we are doing. We're running and in the dark looking for who to blame, who to hit the stick. You will hit it on the head of your brother. In fact, your father will open his eyes and say it's him you hit. And that is what is happening tonight. Nigerians. We need to separate ourselves from the fact that we have our cultural differences, we have our diverse, unique way of living life. And one thing is that it all comes down together. If you see Nigerians coming together to do something, it actually works.
Yeah.
If Nigerians say we're coming together, we want to fight for this cause, they come together. And there's no that you will see the unity, even in protests and other things that Nigerians have come together to do. I've never seen a place where they said the Igbo people should stand this side and go and do it from this angle. The Yoruba people should stand this side. And so why don't we tackle corruption like that together? Why don't we tackle this issue that will keep going from generation to generation together? And that, so something, what you have said, you really hit the nail on the head, because it's clear that is a major issue. If you stop seeing that this person is a Christian, this person is a Muslim, this person is a traditional worshipper, and you believe that this person is a Nigerian. So I will first of all I wouldn't go into a particular place and think, where are my people at? Because when you do where are my people at the end of the day, if your people are not competent for that particular position, you make your people look bad. Even your people that are trying to cover your people's shame. If you know your person is not going to do this work well, get someone else who will, regardless of where that person is coming from. And I think employers listening to us today should have a rethink about any time you want to employ somebody. Don't think because you speak the same language, that would be the reason why you get those cases. That would be the reason why you do the work properly. You've met a lot of people in this life generally that are doing different things, amazing things in Nigeria. If you go out of the country, Nigerians are doing amazing things. And they're identified as Nigerians, not one Igbo boy or one Yoruba boy. If you see the headlines, a Nigerian student, so person, the name, they don't care where you are from. Why don't we do the same? Let's adopt these similar functions. So I would dare say that Nigerians should put aside these differences. It's hard. It's easier to wake up in the morning and say, hey, my younger sister, come, let's go for this thing. But I promise you, you're doing harm to your younger sister if you put her in a position where she will be so incompetent because she's not trained. It's another different thing if you're putting people from your connections first because you know they can do the job. You know that is allowed, that you have a circle of people doing very well, and you know that when they get into that position, they will do the best. It's good to employ people like that.
All right. Thank you so much for, telling Nigeria and talking to Nigerians, because I think until we salvage ourselves from this mental understanding that I am from this particular ethnic group or from that particular language speaking group, of from a Christian or a Muslim or a Hindu or whichever religion that comes or you practice, we cannot have a headway.
We cannot.
Because, and another thing I also want to bring to every parent, because last week we talked about the genesis, where this whole thing starts from. When you begin to, support your child, by cutting corners to be able to pave way for them to do well, seemingly as by result, score high in JAM so that you can, be qualified to push for an admission, then that means you have to pay for special center. If that child grows up, because for me, if your brother, that he's a medical doctor, And anytime a patient is taken to him, the patient ends up dying.
Yeah.
If you have a medical condition that requires them to take you to that hospital, I believe you will will say, even if it means you spending your last cash,
You never.
take me to where you.
So you see that what goes around comes around.
Comes around. And because this question turns around to our officials and all supposedly, elites that you travel out to other countries to have a medical examination or treatment.
Why
not?
Why are you running?
The people you put there, are they not competent enough?
That boy that you gave a degree that did not go to school. Let him be doctor.
Let him doctor you
doctor
and
you.
treat you. I think by the time these things, right in our ears, then we should be able to have a headway.
100%.
All right, we are running behind schedule. Quickly, let's talk one or two things, like solutions that, Nigerians could actually adopt so that we can, generally scrap all these things from our society.
So I'll just run through them very quickly. I would say that let there always be a transparent recruitment and process, regardless of where we're going to, where you're working, whether it's in the government system, whether it's in the private sector, public, private, let there be transparency. And if there's transparency, then we can all see where it's coming from.
Yeah.
We'll be able to find the root cause of the problem. Another thing is that let there be merit-based hiring systems.
Good.
If you can't do it, you can't do it. If you're not good enough, you're not good enough. No explanation. No, I can try. If you can't do it, you can't do it, especially for crucial positions. We should be very sensitive of who is being hired. Let it be merit-based. Let you have the backing, the experience, and everything that is needed for you to go there. There are jobs that give allowances for trainings. That is different. But I'm talking about jobs that need crucial attentions. Let there be like a merit-based system. I would also say a strengthening of anti-corruption measures and implementing and enforcing stricter anti-corruption laws, because at the end of the day, if everybody knows if I do this and they catch me, this is what is going to happen to me publicly. I'll be used as an example. That would also help. And then I think lastly, I would say public awareness campaigns. Like what we're doing right now. We're talking about it. Talk. People think talk is cheap and talk is useless, but at the end of the day, people are listening right now. And a lot of, even for me, I may not have understood this deeply. I may not have really given it a second thought in life, but generally having to speak on this topic is already making me feel like tomorrow, I can't be somewhere where I would do this thing. Because if they catch me, now me talk on, people will bring out this recording. People will say, I heard her when she said this. Don't be afraid to talk. If you know you're not going to do something wrong, say the right thing. Stand for it. Stand for the truth. So there should be public awareness campaigns by non-profits, public sectors, the private sectors. Let everybody talk. Let us all follow the Gen Zs. Let's discuss.
It's all right. Talk. Because that is the way forward to ensure that the consciousness is always in our hearts to do the right thing.
And remember the flag it up. It cannot even be forgotten. I will say report. I know Ume never forgets, but let me just say. always download the Flag It app. Google, iOS, you find the Flag It app. It's also a web-based app, and you can report cases of social injustice, cases of corruption. Nothing is too little, nothing is too big. Always find a way to report, because when you get used to the reportage of corruption, you get used to pointing out that it is wrong, and we will take it up from there.
Thank you so much, Zira, for this wonderful discussion that you have exposed Nigerians to the needful thing that we should put our conscience in position in anything you are doing.
Yes. Let
your conscience always lead you aright.
100%.
If you kill that conscience, that means you have accepted corruption in totality. Like I said, That's particular. Let nobody intimidate you because they call you. They say, that woman is so strict. She doesn't allow. In fact, you are the one doing the right thing, because those that they praise are the ones doing the wrong thing. And I always take this quote from my boss. He said, anytime somebody is criticizing you, or a lot of people are finding difficult through you because you don't easily allow, them to have their way, it means you are on the right track. Never be intimidated. Never stop. Don't back down. Let the spirit continue. Because that is the only way we can have a way forward in this country.
100%.
If you allow them have their way, then it means you have given way to corruption to thrive.
100%.
That is the message for you this morning. Thank you so much. And thank you, Nigerians, for listening. Until we come your way next week again, please stay tuned and don't touch that dial. Emayashe comes up at 11.